Hello, I'm Jake. Hey,
I'm Hannah. Hi.
I want, you know what? I said it last time. What I want you to say is this title in the most sincere way that you can muster.
Stop being racist and sexist to straight white men is the title of this fucking chapter.
That's like a clap emoji, but a gavel. Are there gavel emojis? Let me see. Gavel? Gavel? If I just say
This is
gavel, gav? Nope. There's no gav. GAV doesn't work.
work on it, people who make emojis. Who invents emojis? Who gets to decide what emojis are there? That's too much power for any human to wield.
George
Anyway,
Soros.
so
That's where he makes his money.
this is the chapter where Dave Rubin is gonna grift, more so than the other chapters, and try and say, hey, straight white man reading this book, you're the real downtrodden. You're the real people being discriminated against.
Yeah, more
and
of that.
frankly,
Yeah.
have you considered that Martin Luther King was talking about you
Me?
and you being downtrodden?
Thanks, MLK. Hell yeah. I finally get to be represented. I am, as a white man, I am very appreciated.
I always, when I think about Jake, I always think, it's a shame that Jake never speaks his mind.
That never.
And he
I'm
never
very
has a platform to talk
No.
about the things he wants. And you're so demure when it comes to like your opinions. You're like,
100%, yeah.
You never
Yeah.
get to get your points across.
Not even
and
close.
when you're in conversations with other people online that you disagree with, they steamroll over you, and you're just like,
True.
It's
Yeah.
frustrating.
Much
We
like
need-
a Republican Congress person recently, to demonstrate how much speech I don't have. I'm gonna be on the front page of the New York Post and be muzzled, because fuck you, Josh Hawley. This is stop being racist and sexist to straight white men. Literally the first sentence, and I'm not making this up. 50 years from Martin Luther King's historic I Have a Dream speech, it's now fashionable to judge people based on their skin color and gender, if they're straight white men. All right. I don't want to do it to him, but I want to do it to him, so I'm just going to, instead of whitewashing Martin Luther King Jr., I'm just going to read his words about white people real quick, okay? I have two quotes, and you don't need to know the context of them at all. But they're both from Where Do We Go From Here from 1967, if you'd like to. 1967. Right before this guy's shot and murdered by white people. White Americans must recognize that justice for black people cannot be achieved without radical change in the structure of our society. So specifically white people are being talked about. But here's the better one. Whites, it must be frankly said, are not putting in a similar mass effort to re-educate themselves out of their racial ignorance. It is an aspect of their sense of superiority that the white people of America believe they have so little to learn. The reality of substantial investment to assist black people, I'm not going to say that word, it's uncouth now, into the 20th century, adjusting to the black neighborhoods and genuine school integration, is still a nightmare for all too many white Americans. These are the deepest causes for contemporary abrasions between the races. Loose and easy language about equality, resonant resolutions about brotherhood fall pleasantly on the ear, but for a black person, there is a credibility gap he cannot overlook. He remembers that with each modest advance, the white population promptly raises the argument that a black person has come far enough. Each step forward accents an ever-present tendency to backlash. Holy shit. Prescient to this moment. Prescient to this very fucking moment, okay? Look. Okay? Don't get it fucking twisted, okay? Martin Luther King was not your fucking poster boy for I don't see color. He saw fucking color, and he saw white a lot. and they were bad experiences with white, and also bad experience with capitalism. Dudes in actual socialists. You want another fucking quote? The evils of capitalism are as real as the evils of militarism and racism. I mean, come on, brother. Read just literally past the "I have a dream" like speech. Just the first line. Literally anything past that. Fuck you, Dave Rubin. MLK is he's not your fucking white ally, bro. He is a fucking. I hate that. If this frustrates me, imagine being a black person. How frustrated it must be that people like this are stealing Martin Luther King every year. Every February they go, or January, I guess, MLK Day, but Black History Month. Go, please, take it.
He goes on to say, the simple truth is that white men are largely the architects of modern-day America, which, by the way, is totally fine. Without them, we would be a much lesser country. Apparently, we're supposed to applaud people who disallowed other people from participating in society for being largely the people who orchestrated said society.
Whoa. How about just clap for me instead? What are you doing?
Like, it's not like... In Dave Rubin's head, okay, what did he think was happening? Did he think, for instance, in his head, it was a bunch of straight white dudes who were like, you know, I don't know, building the frame of a house, and
like an Amish community,
sure, okay. Or like doing accounting or being a lawyer,
Ooh.
And like there was like a black guy and a woman there. And he was like, "Hey, do you want to come help us do the lawyering?"
What color was the woman? A black woman as well?
It doesn't.
It does matter.
Okay, let's say
I've seen To Kill a Mockingbird.
There's a black man, there's a white woman, and there's a black woman.
Okay.
And this straight white man is building the frame of a house or lawyering or doing accounting, and he said, "Hey guys, do you want to come and participate in society as equals with me?" And they all went,
"Yeah."
Nah.
We'd love to, but you keep doing all the work. Why are they John Mulaney's pug? I don't. Anyway,
that's not what happened.
It's not.
That's not what happened.
You stole.
Women
first
were
of all,
disallowed from participating in that way in society. And black people were enslaved for most of American history.
Not only that.
So, by the way, they were building America. They just weren't being paid for it.
They literally burgled black people. Like, what? Like, they were commodities. They were human beings being shipped like sugar to make sugar and other shit. We built America. Now, it was nice to say that you're the architects. More like the foremans. More like the management as other people who had maybe a different hue of skin built America. And, I mean, like, Asian Americans from the last one, well, not even necessarily Asian Americans, just immigrants. Railroads, Western expansion at all. I mean, you have vast Native American populations that were forced to work labor as well. I mean, Mexicans were forced to work labor. There still are to this day via our really, really unethical immigration policies where you have to, you know, they're incentivized to come across the border illegally so that we can pay for cheaper labor. It's just another form of slavery. So is the 14th Amendment. So is the sort of modern prisons. Like, how have you not read a book, Dave?
Okay, next line.
Just keep going. I need you to go.
Don't believe me?
I'll
See
dwell.
for yourself. From Thomas Jefferson's Declaration of Independence
No!
to Abraham Lincoln's ending of slavery, it's pasty white dudes who've enshrined your ability to hate them. Okay, two things. First of all, Jefferson and the other Southern Democratic Republicans are the reason the Three-Fifths Compromise was a thing.
Which is, by the way, but the Three-Fifths Compromise, some people don't realize this, baked into the Constitution itself, baked in, it's an article, it's not an amendment. It's in the foundation of the Constitution.
They also, by the way, the people who wrote the Constitutional Convention, I hate to go back to the same metaphor, but it's not like Jefferson was sitting there working on it, and everyone was like looking over his shoulder like, oh, okay, this is going well. And in the corner, there's the same group of three non-straight white people.
Oh, wait. You think non-straight white people were in the room?
In this imaginary situation, they are.
That's so much more than they ever got.
Like, Jefferson didn't go, and 3, over there in the corner, do you have any input on this Constitution? Would you like to be a part of this? And they went, nah. Do whatever. In fact, make me 3/5 of a person, please.
I don't even want a whole fifth. I don't want to vote neither. Do you want to be able to choose who you get married to? You handle it.
And Abraham Lincoln's ending of slavery. Okay, look, it's a fine thing to look at, like, the abolition of slavery is a positive thing because it could. However, it's a little bit like, imagine if I stabbed you over and over again for 300 years, and then I stopped stabbing you, and I was like, are you gonna thank me for not stabbing you anymore? But I'm not even really done stabbing you. Now I'm just kind of running the knife blade and slowly cutting around places. Jim Crow and segregation.
He gave reparations to slave owners. They literally gave them reparations after they took their slaves. Look, we needed Abraham Lincoln to do that, but he's not, like, good. I mean, he's good for the time. That's the best we could have hoped for. Like, this is not a hero to modern people. This is a good moment for people, but only because it was so negative prior. It's not like you don't get credit as a firefighter for putting out the living room when you let the rest of it burn. Like, but he saved the living room. Yeah, okay, good job, Cal. But do the rest. Do the rest of it. And the house is still on fire, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed, but then we also recently we've just, I don't know if it's more fire, but it's definitely not water in coronavirus. Whatever the fuck that is, we just let that into the house. Badgers, just fucking rabid badgers while you're trying to fight a fire. I don't know.
Here's what frustrates me, because he goes on to basically say, like, those who, like, dislike straight white men or whatever should look at Friedrich Nietzsche and I know I'm mispronouncing that. I know. Whoever fights monsters should see that in the process they do not become a monster, and if you gaze long enough into abyss, the abyss will stare back into you. Again, complete straw man. Dave, no one here hates white straight men.
Wait a second.
Jake is that. I assume he's on this side for the filming purposes. No? Was it the other way?
There it is. Here I am.
Okay. Jake is one of my closest friends, okay? I do not hate him.
Hey, that's pretty close. That's pretty close to a compliment. Yeah, but even so, you don't have to look at me. We don't hate like most white people.
It has nothing to do with hating people because they're men, or hating people because they're straight or white, or hating anyone for that matter. It's not about hate. It's about recognizing institutional power and where it is held, and how that is non-equitable and leads to negative material outcomes for people who don't belong to that in-group. That's not hate. That's recognizing how the world is functioning and trying to change it in such a way to be better for everyone. That's not hate. The fact that you're being told, hey, you should consider how your actions affect other people, that's not hate. That's recognizing responsibility that you have.
It goes to show, like, this sort of white fragility, which he doesn't agree exists, of course, and that a lot of the chuds like disagree with the concept of. But so racism is a very different thing than what you're to say. A white person does a bad is not racism. Like, you're not dehumanizing a white person and calling them, like, you know, a fucking animal. You're not saying that they're, you know, shouldn't qualify for human rights. You're not saying they're savages that need to be civilized. You're not saying anything like that. You're again, like Hannah just said, you're critiquing their behavior. If you can't see the difference between, I don't think you deserve human rights and thus you should be my labor slave, versus, hey, do you think it's cool that you do the racism with your friends? Maybe we shouldn't do that. If you can't see the difference between a criticism and abject racism, you might be white and fragile. So maybe don't do that. Maybe consider, like, I don't know. These people are always like, I want constructive criticism. That's a constructive criticism. Hey, if you see racism around you, be anti-racist. Be the person that goes, hey, I don't really want that in my fucking like space. I don't think it's very cool for you to do that. And I would love, if you have the bandwidth for it, be like, and I'll tell you why. Like, but that's not cool. Like, a lot of people have this conversation with their parents at some point where they'll say something racist, be like, Mom, Dad, like that was racist, bro. like don't do that. And I mean, I don't know how. If you watch this show, you've probably had to check somebody in your life for sure. That's all that's being asked for. Like, it's not a hard job to be a white person at all. It's an even less hard job to be a white person and be not racist.
Let me clarify that statement. You can be a white person and have problems, but if you're a white person, your problems are not stemming from the fact that you are white.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, usually. I can't imagine a situation that it occurs, but maybe if you're undercover in, like, Saudi Arabia or something, and they're like,
sure,
I think you're a white CIA agent, and you're like,
We're
am not.
talking about the United States, obviously.
Right, so I don't think you're running into that situation here. So it's just not the case.
This sentence bothers me.
Every sentence bothers me.
Dave Rubin says, if you work hard and are nice to people, nobody will give a fuck about your sexuality, your race, your gender, or whether you're an atheist, polysexual vegan with blue hair. Seriously. We did it! We solved all discrimination. Hey, remember that time there was someone with a non-natural hair color in a Star Wars movie? And chuds lost their minds? That was in a movie. That was in a Star Wars movie.
Remember there was a stormtrooper that didn't happen to be white, even though they've never been shown to be not white? I don't know. Like, what? Just. I don't know how you can write that sentence. If you work hard and you're nice to people. What do you mean nice to people? What's nice to people? Like, just, hey, I know that you're experiencing people calling you racial epithets, but, like, chill, okay? It's again, it just comes back to this shit that black people have been telling us for decades, and that a lot of white people only got privy to during this last terrible summer. But, like, and not terrible for the reasons Dave Rubin thinks it was terrible because black people were dying and then begging for fucking equality. But it's I don't even know how to describe it, really. Just listen to people. There's this funny thing that happens with right-wingers where they think, like, they hear the word, because they think that they're, like, skeptics or something. And they hear someone go, like, this is my experience as a person that exists. And they go, that's an anecdote. You can't use anecdotes. Anecdotes are fine. The anecdotes are bad when they run counter to data. So if you have an anecdote and it's like, I used this example online last night talking to somebody about white privilege, which of course I did, and the anecdote, like, I never get sick, so I don't need a vaccine, right? Something like that. Like, that's an anecdote. The vaccine is a good thing for flus. That's a reason people don't get sick. And all the data suggests we should get vaccinated for the flu during flu season, just because you have never personally had the flu isn't running counter to the data. Anecdotes are good in things like sociology and good things like psychology, history. We use anecdotes all the time for these things. How you determine what's historically true, for instance, being a person that has done this in the past, and you have to suss out, the reality of our past through written word, because someone can totally lie about what's happening, and often they do. Like, imagine if you only read the dissent against Abraham Lincoln ever in your life. You would not think he was a good dude, right? But because we sort of, again, we whitewash it and make it very clean and make him seem like really altruistic about it. But still, there are some positive qualities about the Abraham Lincoln story. Not a bunch, but there are, and that's because historians have looked at anecdotes throughout. If you have anecdotes, for instance, with black people in America, and the anecdote is, I often have negative experiences with police officers. and it seems to be based on my skin color, and they overpolice, and like I have all these things running broadly across the culture over long periods of time and stretches of geography. That is incredibly reliable sociological data. That is like how these sciences work. When you have to take people at the word, and then if it corroborates with millions of other people's experiences, you can pretty much bet it's pretty similar. It's like I don't know, polling a bunch of Jets fans and asking them their favorite team, and then not believing them that they're Jets fans. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you disbelieve them? It is an anecdote that they are a Jets fan. There's literally no data that you can have behind that besides, like, I mean, you can watch their viewing habits, I guess, but you could also watch arrest records for black people in neighborhoods and stuff. Like, there is data to back up these anecdotes, but the anecdotes are not invalid because you think that anecdotes are bad. You just don't understand how words work, or how data works, or how any of this works. It's really fucking stupid.
So he goes on, and this part, I mean, I guess I should stop saying it's frustrating. It's all frustrating. He goes on in his example that not only, oh God,
yeah,
nothing is holding you or anyone else back, especially not straight white men. Not only are minorities some of the most famous and successful players in Hollywood, they're also among the most powerful people in our country's leading industries. And then he goes on to list people. Tim Cook, who is a gay man, female CEO of YouTube, CEO of General Motors, who's a woman, basically lists a bunch of people up to and including Jay-Z and Rihanna. Ellen DeGeneres is one of the people that he picks.
One of the worst people ever.
Yeah, he lists like 6 to 7 rich people, and apparently the metric of whether or not you are oppressed in America is whether or not there are some people who are wealthy who are also in the same group as you.
Again, same
Which
thing
is
you
not
did with the
how
Asian
that
privilege thing. Yeah, not at all how it works. If you talk to a black person about this, again. I do a show on Sundays called Sunday Service with Arian Foster. He was a former NFL running back, and you should show up on Sundays on my Twitch channel. Really good conversations about life and just what's going on. Sometimes we talk about politics. Sometimes we'll have other people on. But as a person who has made it, right, according to our capitalist standards of it, and he's a very far lefty, it's like if he steps out of line, right? If he does something that's gets in the tabloids or something, like that does reflect on the black community unfairly. Like that happens a lot. You see this, especially we've done this before. I think last time we did this, he made a monolith of a certain people because some people are successful in it. If a trans person does a bad thing, it goes, well, see, trans people are doing whatever. A bathroom, like. It happens all the time. It happens with homophobia in the exact same way. In fact, transphobia is repackaged homophobia in almost a worse way. And, I just don't know how people's brains can think like this. I genuinely don't understand. I don't know. Please give me insight. Do you have anything for me? Help me feel better.
I can't. It's just awful.
Oh, okay.
All right. Did you have anything else before I get to the ending?
Do I? That's because unlike the modern left, the American dream does not discriminate. Is a really bad line. The American dream only happens to some people. The American dream being, of course, if you work real hard, you'll be successful. You know anyone that works real hard that isn't successful, chat? Yes, of course you do. Works every day, busts their ass, might work 80 hours a week, I don't know, their whole life, and will never, ever, 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 ever be a millionaire. Like, it's just not happening, because if everyone's a millionaire, no one is. So you need a lower class in capitalism. And look, it's not even like really banging the drum for anti-capitalism. If you watch any of our content, you know that we're sort of like, you got to take steps to get away from it anyway. So, some of those steps are like healthcare and education, stuff like that. So it's not like it's super commie, anti-capitalist all the way here, but definitely like there's tremendous failings within capitalism, especially the American system of capitalism, that need to fundamentally change. And it can't be your only barometer for success. These same people would denigrate like Vincent van Gogh. like
Sure.
who didn't sell a painting except to his brother-in-law while he was alive, like, and then he got famous afterwards. It's like, well, then he was not successful. He was trash, right? I guess like if you only go by monetary wealth, you're doing a terrible disservice to the conversation. You're ignoring society. I mean, as a gay man, he must understand that homophobes don't give a shit if he's a millionaire, right? I don't know. It got a little normalized because the Republican Party lost their fight against it.
I don't know. I really don't. Dave Rubin's wealth, I think, insulates him from a lot of these problems.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And definitely being white and in, I don't know, California and stuff, like, and especially the bougie parts of California where he lives, he's very apart from, you know, and then he like, literally, they live on, like, elevated land, and so they go down into these places where poverty exists. It's almost a metaphor even in physical form. Like, it's really fucking stupid, and it's sad. It's so sad that people are like this. Like I don't know. I just want, like, as an American, and I think it's a very patriotic thing, I just want everybody that lives here to be fucking cool, man. And if we can, anything we can do to make anybody else more comfortable and happy, like, it doesn't affect my happiness to not be racist or you know, understand the underprivileged nature of not being my demographic structure. Like, what about that would make me unhappy? Like, it literally the only thing that I can do is make other people happier by trying to break down these barriers and creating the actual American dream, which should be living the most maximally happy life you can. It's, you know, as far as we can provide it, and it doesn't mean, you know, equality of outcome or anything. Some people are going to fail, and that's fine. But we want to make sure they can only fail so far, and make sure that we can pick people up and make sure they're good. And I don't know. There's so many, like, freedoms about just being able to be who you are. Like, whoever that is, whether it's innate about you or whether it's something that you decide that later on, I want fucking green hair. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, if you want to have body modifications, who cares? Who cares? As for a guy who says he's a libertarian, he should just give a fuck about what other people do a lot. It drives me nuts. Anything, I'm ranting. I'm losing my mind. I fucking hate Dave. I hate him.
I gotta read this last line.
Please
because
do.
I think it's so stupid.
Get the last word.
He likes to wrap up his horseshit takes with attempted humor, and it's always pretty bad.
Yeah.
Besides, even if none of this were true, which it is, America would still be the greatest country in the universe. Why? Because we created a Seinfeld, bubble wrap, and turducken. Seriously, what's not to love? Realizing there's almost nothing not to love, the left invents problems to fill the void. In the next chapter, you'll learn how to spot it when these lies manifest in mainstream news. Remember Seinfeld? Turducken and other things people gave a shit about in the 90s.
Now that I know turduckens exist, I don't have to worry about the homeless population or people with food insecurity, hungry children in schools, lack of education. I don't have to worry about systemic racism. I don't have to worry about people's equality. I don't have to worry about trans rights anymore. So I'm off the hook there, friendo. I don't have to worry about any of the bad things that happen to anybody ever. Because that's just I got turduckens or something, and bubble wrap. Seinfeld sucks. Am I out of my depth here? I fucking don't like Seinfeld.
I like Seinfeld. I get it though. It's outdated, but that's because it pioneered a lot of the stuff it did. But I understand.
Yeah. Well, as like a Citizen Kane of sitcom, sure, but like
sure.
Meh.
So next chapter.
Oh, you don't have final thoughts?
Oh, fuck Dave Rubin.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's what do you want me to say?
I don't know.
It's a complete straw man chapter. Most people.
Sometimes we get Hannah time. You know what I mean?
So. Just the vast majority of people outside of like really fringe people don't inherently hate straight white men. Yeah. That's not the talking point that comes out of the left. It's more about recognizing where you have privilege and using that privilege to help other people and lift them up instead of using that only for your advantage and never using it to help other people and never using it or just not recognizing it. It's not great.
I agree.
That's it. So chapter 8, the next chapter is learn how to spot fake news.
I wish I did learn this, by the way. I literally I had classes on this.
beware the Lugenpressen.
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 Okay.
Luftwaffe. That's a cool name that sucks. I'm real sad that got ruined, because that's so fun to say. What a bummer. What's your favorite bad word to say? Well, it's not really a bad word to say it, but like something that's just been sullied. Man, I like Luftwaffe as just a feel. Nothing.
I'm trying to think if there's anything. No.
You got a favorite? Do you have a favorite word to type? I've said this before. It's people. People. Love it. That's
pretty good.
It feels real good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I kind of like whir because you kind of get to. Whoosh, whoosh,
ooh yeah.
whoosh,
Wah wah. Oh. Yeah. No, I like it. All right. Cool. Tell us what your favorite. Just type any word, whatever your favorite word is. That's your comment. Okay. I don't want like. We don't have to break this down any further. You can have a conversation, but I also want. Just type a fucking word in. Whatever word comes to mind. Love it. There's going to be so many people that write dick. Anyway.
We have all our links in the description. Go look at them and click on them.
Yeah, dick's not fun.
My
Boob is
YouTube
fun,
channel just hit 10,000 subscribers.
Hey!
So go youtube.com/Hannah Reloaded.
Mine just hit 19, but I started first, so it's not like a flex. It's just we're growing rates. So
go subscribe to me so I can eclipse Jake and destroy his spirit.
I will only be happy for you. So you can subscribe to me as well. Yeah. We do lots of content over there. Shit, I have multi-daily content, like 3. But you're missing lots of shit. Missing a lot. So those will be available to you. You should do that. And it's a little bit different because we get to fly solo every once in a while, but you get to see our different perspectives without, the other person interrupting Hannah. So, love your faces. Now what body part do you love? It was Crunkles last time.
Weenus.
Ooh, good one. You can lick that, and some people might not even feel it. Lick your friend's weenus.